And now, from beyond our dimension, this is the JeffMara podcast. Here's Jeff.
My guest is Catie Crider, who had a shared death experience with her grandmother and more, and we're going to talk about it today. Catie, thank you for being my guest, and welcome.
Thank you, Jeff. It's a pleasure to be here.
All right, if you don't mind, can we start on the day that your experience happened with your grandmother and go from there?
Well, it was in the middle of the night. My grandmother and the angel of death came and they woke me from my sleep. And the angel of death, he was dressed like the Grim Reaper. But my grandmother assured me there was nothing to fear. And indeed, he was quite loving and kind and tender. I was about 8 years old. And I didn't want my grandmother to go. And so I wanted to go with them. And the angel of death said, yes, I could go to a certain point, but then I would have to return. And I don't remember anything happening up to that point. But I remember returning, and the angel told me that he would be back again for me when it was my time.
So you don't remember what you saw over on the other side?
No, I don't remember if I even went to the other side.
Did it seem like it was as real as we are talking here?
It was very real. And when I woke up, I climbed under my bed. It was rather tall. And I cried. And I waited and waited because I knew my grandmother was gone. I could feel it. And next thing you know, I heard my mother wake up and go check on my grandmother. And she went back to her bedroom and she told my father that Mitchell was dead. And then they made coffee and got on the phone to all her brothers. And then she came to wake us, but I was already awake.
Did you happen to tell her that you saw your grandmother?
I did, but that's one of those things in our household that we don't tell your dad.
Did that experience change you in any way?
That one, no. But 3 months after that, my grandmother's ghost appeared to me. And she was standing in my bedroom door. And she stood there and she looked at me and she went like that. And she said, see, I'm okay. That changed everything.
Have you had any other communication with your grandmother?
No, nothing that I can verify, no.
All right. Have you had any other experiences with other angels?
Yes, as a matter of fact, when I was, I think 4, we lived on the Pacific Ocean, and it was Easter Day, and my mom had bought us all these white gloves, white patent leather shoes, pretty little white socks, and and our dresses, all of us, my mother's dress and my 3 sisters and myself, we all had the same dress, yellow with white polka dots. So we went to church like that. And then afterward, we went down to walk on the beach because we used to do that quite regularly. And my sister Barb, who is the eldest, she had gotten a little wicker handbag. And I guess I was jealous. And I ran up on her and I snatched that bag out. And then she started chasing me, of course. And before you know it, we're in the water just playing. And the waves got me and took me out. And my mother was standing on the shore yelling, swim, swim. I had no idea how to swim. And then the waves are stronger than me. They are just pounding me down, up and down, up and down. And my mom was on the beach there. Now she's yelling, grab a rock. Okay, so I go down again, and this time I'm thinking I'm not going to come up, and I look to my left, and I see a man swimming toward me. Like this, just swimming right toward me. And he scooped me up, took me to the top of the water, and secured me to a rock, at which point I went unconscious. Okay, so then I regained consciousness on the shore while they're trying to pump water out of me. And the first thing I asked my mom is, "Where's the man who saved me?" And she said, "There was no man." So, okay.
And you think that man is your guardian angel?
Absolutely. Years later, when in my adulthood, I had an apartment closer to downtown, and it was right off the street, maybe 15 feet back from the street. And that room facing there was my living room. And anyway, keep that in mind. I had a dream one night, and my angel came to me, and he said, "You've got to get out of there." Okay, so that was the dream. And it was really something because he was at the front door. He had knocked, and he was looking down like that. You know, he was much taller than the door frame. But okay, so that was his warning. And then the next morning was I had to be at work at 7, and Steve was still at home. He was sleeping. And a car came right through our living room wall. There was brick and mortar everywhere. My Christmas tree was ruined.
Wow.
But yes, and that was him, same man. I call him a man, but
Did he look solid like us or kind of like translucent ghost-like?
no, he looked very solid like us. He platinum blonde hair about to here, big beautiful blue eyes, but humongous. He must be 8 feet tall with big old shoulders, you know, and muscles, very muscular.
Did he ever talk to you and say that he is your guardian angel?
No, no. I think they want me to go on faith. I don't get a lot of information.
Have you had any other angel experiences?
Not angel experiences, no.
You mentioned before we started that you had an encounter with Jesus or that Jesus healed you. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah. I started having conscious seizures when I was probably 21 after the birth of my son. And years passed, and you know, this stuff is horrible. It'll happen anywhere. And me, I get to a bathroom right away. I can't play, you know? And it was so bad. People would walk by thinking I was on drugs. They'd kick at me and all kinds of stuff. And me, I couldn't even get up because the rotation of the earth was just nauseating. I never threw up, but it was very nauseating. And you know, so, and I dealt with that for at least 17 years. I think it was longer. But I lived alone, and I felt one of those seizures coming on. So the first thing I do is I get into the bathroom, and then I'm on the floor saying a prayer. And I ask Jesus, well, I'm speaking to God in my prayer. And I tell him, you know, if this is his will for my life, it's okay. And that I will still love him and praise him. But if this is not his will, please send Jesus to touch me and heal me. It was over that quick, and I have never even had an aura since.
You've never had a seizure since?
Nope, never. Wow. Never. I'll tell you, what Jesus heals, he heals completely.
Before this healing from Jesus, were you always a religious person?
Not religious, no. but I have always been spiritual. I was in the church before I could walk or talk, and I grew up like that until I was probably 9 or 10, and then my parents stopped going to church. But I went to church until I was a teenager, and I became very unhappy with certain beliefs or standards of particular churches, and I needed the answers from God. I needed the truth.
What made you decide to call out to Jesus at that time of your healing?
Oh, and my healing? Well, I've got to tell you, they did not make medicine for conscious seizures at that time. So every time, and I'll tell you, it felt like getting deathly ill for no apparent reason. My skin would turn gray. I would start pouring sweat, but freezing. Got to use the bathroom. And next thing you know, there's this, I forget what they call it now, dizziness. And, I'm on the floor trying to stay alive. But every time, and it happened in public, I had no control. And every time it would happen, my answer to this, because nothing could be done, was to put myself in God's hands. And I mean, right there in his hands, until it was over, And that's how that went. So it was my practice to put myself in God's hand, because I couldn't think of a better place to be.
After that healing, did you become more religious?
Not religious, more spiritual, yes. Yes. But that healing was in my early 40s. So a lot happened previous to that.
Do you practice any certain type of meditation or yoga or anything currently?
No. The reason is because I'm on medication, and it seems to block everything, and yeah, it's gotten worse and worse, and I try to sit down and meditate, and I go through the motions, but the connections are not there anymore,
Mm-hmm.
But I'll tell you this, God and the universe, they find a way to get through to me. So.
Did you have any specific spiritual practices that you were practicing, or meditation?
I did. I was 24 years old when I began meditation. And I meditated at least 3 hours in the morning and 2 hours at night. And, I used Raha yoga. And that is the yoga of uniting with God. And that was my choice. You said an ideal. My ideal was Jesus. He's the ideal. And so I am meditating on joining my heart with his for union to occur. Okay? And right away I had developed intuitive abilities. That was really quite simple. It's always the first thought, not the next or the next or the next. It's always the first thought. And intuition is a funny thing, because the more you use it, the stronger it grows. Well, I knew that. I had read about that. And so I would ask specific questions. Where's so-and-so? Where's so-and-so? And it would tell me, and I'd go. And every time that person was there, it was not wrong for 3 years in a row. And of course, no one else knew that, but I knew. And then my meditations, visions. I was experiencing visions, mostly simple things. Like I recall an old man sitting at a kitchen table alone, having coffee. Okay, that was a simple one. But one day, in a vision, I seen a lady down at the corner of the street, and the light had burnt out, or it wasn't working, it wasn't on. Next, and I see her walking, and she has on this like ox blood color vinyl jacket, and it was the thing in those days. And that quick, I'm inside her head, and I'm aware that her intuition told her not to walk down that street. And she tossed it aside and went on down that street. And I'm very familiar with that street because I used to live on that street. And so she's walking. Next thing you know, I see a rustle in the bushes. Boom. I'm inside of a man hiding in the bushes with a machete that has blood on it. And I know his intentions, and I know that he loves the smell of blood. Ooh, how awful. But that's what that apparently was his driving force. And the woman was getting closer, and I'm still inside the man. And I say, get me out of here. And boom, I'm gone. It's all over. But that scared me bad. Really bad. I didn't know what it was. I had never heard of such a thing. And I wondered, was I a murderer in a past life or what? And so, yes, I was scared of that. Then the next time, it was about 3 weeks later, beautiful April morning, and I have the screen doors open, and I'm doing dishes, and I'm gone. I'm in the head or in the body of a male soldier, and I know he's a soldier because I looked down, and he's wearing BDUs rolled up to there, and he's driving, and I know that the man in the passenger seat is a colonel, and that whoever is behind him is just an insignificant person. I know that. I know that, he has thick, dark hair on his forearms. It was Red Mountain dirt, and the Army equipment was cutting roads out of the mountain. But what was interesting to me about this one was about 2 years later, I joined the Army. And that's when those BDUs just came out. So that one I must have projected into the future. But anyway, like I told you, I was scared of these things. I was afraid to be horrified. I didn't want to see, it occurred to me that something like this could be good for finding missing children. And I just didn't think I had what it takes to see a child chopped up or hurt, or I was afraid. I didn't think I had what it takes for this. And so then after that, life happened, and things got really bad. But It was years later, as a matter of fact, that Monica Silva had been abducted from her bedroom window. And I knew Monica, I knew her parents, and I knew her little brother. And this is the first time I ever tried this intentionally. And so I go on my bed, I lay down to meditate because anyway. And real quick, I'm inside Monica's body. And her back is up against rock. So I'm thinking cave. And next thing you know, someone is pouring like something on her head. But I'll tell you what, God took that baby. She did not feel an ounce of pain. God is quick. He is merciful. He took her quickly. She was gone already before that. It was acid. And so anyway, I called the police and told them who I was and what I'd seen, what I did and what I seen. And, but it was about a year later that they released their information. They spent a whole year trying to find ways to implicate the parents. But anyway, they finally did release the information. Monica had been taken out to the desert and with a pile of rocks over her and acid poured on her.
So how did you develop this ability again?
It just happened. Raha Yoga is, the meditation of union. And I've read a lot. I read about Jane Roberts. Have you read any Jane Roberts?
I haven't.
She talks about it. And she says, you move your conscious to the right or to the left. And that's interesting. But myself, what I have always done is I put someone on this side and someone on this side, and I hold their hand, and it goes around, all around, big circle. And your energy can flow. I mean, but, and that's not setting an intention. That'll land you anywhere. But when you set the intention, like I intended to find out what happened to Monica, it went right there.
Have you had any other paranormal or supernatural things happen to you?
Sure. Recently, I've signed up for with TUT, T-U-T, the Universe Talks or something, T-U-T. And I get a letter into my inbox every morning from the universe, 5 days a week. And it was talking about, I know you want a home, and just because everyone else is getting theirs, that don't mean you won't get yours, because I want a house.
Mm-hmm.
But, at 2 or 3 times it was saying that and mentioning my dream of a house. I wanted a house. And then, I'm on my way to do grocery shopping. And I think I'll stop into Baldini's and play a little at $20 and have a cup of coffee. So I won $11,247. And the next day, my note from the universe said, now tell me I'm not lucky.
What was this place, Baldini's, and what were you playing?
Baldini's, Baldini's.
Baldini's. Is that like a place you could gamble or something?
Yes, it's a casino, a little sports casino. Locals go there. It's not, they quite often bring a lot of tourists in too with their, like Hot August nights and stuff like that.
So that's great. You won a down payment for a house.
Well, mine combined with Steve's, yes, but there's other issues. It won't be at this time with the economy like this.
Have you had any other paranormal or supernatural experiences?
Yes, I have a memory that happened when I was still in my mother's womb. I am a twin, and my twin was male. And I knew that because I knew his energy from in the womb. But I guess my mother had problems, and she had to go to the hospital, and she ended up miscarrying one. But what happened was, in the womb, we knew in advance that one of us was going to be born and one was going to have to go back. And it was agreed upon between he and I that I would go back and he would come and live on earth. In the morning, he was gone. That's all I remember of that. But after birth, I'm not sure how long, maybe the first 3 or 4 months, there were spirits around me. They talked to me all the time. They came when I called. They made sure I was not alone. And then when it came time, because I guess, they stay 3 or 4 months and then they leave. And one of the last things they told me, because I had told them I would never forget them. And they laugh. Oh, yeah, right. Everybody forgets. Well, to this day, I have not forgotten. And the last thing they told me was just live through it. Okay? So that's been my go-to all along. No matter how bad it gets, just live through it.
Do you think it's possible that your guardian angel is your twin brother?
The one I perceive as my guardian angel? I don't think so, because I dreamt of my twin brother. And mind you, he looked just like me, except for he had a little mustache. At first I thought, is that me wearing a mustache? But then, as time passed, I realized it may have been my twin brother. I don't know. But I will tell you that the man or angel that I perceive being my guardian angel, he has no family features from our family. I don't believe so.
After watching this podcast, people may want to reach out to you and ask questions or chit chat with you. Are you open to that? And if so, how can they reach you?
Yeah, I'm open to that. That's fine. They can reach me on let's see. Okay, on Facebook, they can reach me. I'm Catherine Lindsay. I never changed my name on Facebook. So they would have to look for Catherine Lindsay. And then they could message me on Messenger.
And that's Lindsay as an Lindsey or SAY?
EY.
EY. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So, or they can email me. My email is cl_coder@yahoo.com.
Well, before we finish up, can you leave us with one last positive message?
We are one. God is love. The whole everything is love. We are all made of love.
Catie, thank you for that message, and thank you again for being my guest. Have a great rest of your day and take care.
Thank you, Jeff. It's been very nice.
Thank you. Likewise. Thanks for watching the JeffMara podcast. I really appreciate you. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. And if you do, there are loyalty badges and other perks depending on your level of membership. All you need to do is click the join button underneath the video to find out more. Thank you for your support.